Merci à vous pour venir ici, pour entendre de moi quand je lis en anglais, pas irlandaise, de mon premier livre, ce que Michelle n'aimait pas. Mais je commence maintenant à le début de le livre, OK? Pardon pour mon français, je parle comme un adolescent, mais je parle mieux en anglais, OK? Majella kept a list of stuff in her head that she wasn't keen on. Her top 10 hadn't changed in 7 years. Number 1 was small talk, bullshit, and gossip. Number 2 was physical contact. Number 3 was noise. Number 4, bright lights. Number 5, scented stuff. Number 6, Cunter, her boss. Number 7, sweating. Number 8, jokes. Number 9, makeup. And number 10, fashion. The full list of things Majella wasn't keen on extended to 97 items, with subcategories for each item. For example, makeup included nail polish, lipstick, foundation, mascara, etc. And Majella had further itemized each subcategory. Item 9.1, makeup, nail polish. It's too heavy, weighing fingers down. Looks utterly unnatural when coloured. For example, red, orange, black, giving people the appearance of wearing beetle carapaces on their finger ends. Nail polish is difficult to apply, requiring practice, time, and skill. Nail polish is prone to smudging during the drying period. And nail polish is impermanent. Cracks and flakes, sometimes in hours, but always within days. Nail polish requires chemicals during the production process and for removal. Nail polish is a complete waste of money. Now, the list of things Majella did see the point in was much shorter. Number 1, eating. Number 2, Dallas. Except for the 1985 to 86 season, also known as Bobby's Dream. Number 3, UK Gold. Number 4, her father. Number 5, her granny. Number 6, Smithwick's. Number 7, painkillers. Number 8, cleaning. Number 9, sex. And number 10, hair dryers. Sometimes Majella thought she should condense her whole list of things she wasn't keen on into just a single item. Other people. It was people who talked shit. It was people who made up rules that said you're cool or not cool because of what you wore. It was people who judged one half of the human race for not wearing makeup and the other half for wearing it. It was people who switched on lights and made noise and sweated and fought and wept and shouted. Oh, Majella knew when she came down to it, she wasn't keen on other people. So this is Monday, first day in the book, in the chipper. 4:04 p.m. Item 12.2, conversation, rhetorical questions. Majella! Her ma's voice was coming from the hallway. Majella pulled the duvet over her head. She balled it in her ears and she closed her eyes. Majella! She could still hear her ma's oversized monster slippers slapping closer and closer on the stairs. Joke slippers were item 10.4 on Majella's list. Magella! Are you still lying in your pit? Magella took her hands from her ears and began to flick her fingers to distract herself, and she flinched as her ma cracked her sharp knuckles on the bedroom door. Magella, do you not have work to go to this evening? Well, Magella had work to go to, just as she had done every Monday for the past 9 years. And Magella knew that her ma knew that because her work schedule and weekly mass were the only routines their lives revolved around. She didn't know why her ma was asking her a question that she already knew the answer to. So she didn't reply. Am I standing here talking to myself? Am I just some idiot wasting her breath talking to her daughter's door? Is there nothing that Magella needed her mother's voice to stop. I'll get up when I'm ready. I'm not into 6. Magella lay stiffly in bed as her ma stood outside the door for a few moments. She slowly relaxed when she heard her shuffling away and flopping back down the stairs. Magella waited until she could hear the telly chittering, and then she swung her feet to the ground and stood up. She unlocked her bedroom door, and she trudged to the bathroom and locked that door behind her. She sat on the plastic toilet seat and began to pish. She pished for 13 seconds, which is a good long pish made possible by the 2 liters of Coke she'd drunk before going to bed. Magella had read in one of her ma's Your Health magazines that Coke was a diuretic. The magazine highly recommended diuretics to its readership to reduce bloating from excess water. But the Your Health team weren't fans of Coke. They recommended an all-natural, organic dandelion tea that readers can purchase from our website or magazine. Now, Magella had been really impressed that scientists had proved that dandelions were a diuretic. At school, everyone called diuretics pish the bed because they said when you picked one, you'd wet your bed that night. Now, Magella knew that wasn't true, but in school she'd watch the big boys in the yard pick on the wee wains, forcing them to pick a dandelion, and then jeering at the child for the rest of the day. Some of the children wet themselves in class before ever getting near their bed, earning a scolding from the teacher, who would then dress them in the classroom accident pants. Magella, she didn't like the classroom accident pants. The same washed-out pair had served both boys and girls for years unknown in St. Jude's primary school. Magella had only been got once by the dandelion gang. The big fellas had surrounded her one day in the schoolyard at break time. And as soon as she had understood that they wanted her to pick a dandelion, she walked straight over to the biggest bunch, plucked the biggest flower she could see, and presented it to Charlie Daly, the ringleader, with her blank face. That's the face she used when her ma and her da or the teachers were shouting at her. Well, Charlie Daly, he had been pure raging. He knocked the dandelion to the ground, mashed it into the tarmac with his foot, and then he'd shoved Magella so hard she fell back on her arse. Magella had sat where she fell, watching him and his gang walk off behind the prefab classroom. And then she picked herself up and went back to sitting on the step of Mrs. McHugh's classroom on her own. And she'd hidden her hands in the cradle of her skirt, flicking her fingers and humming until the bell rang. Magella stood up and went to the mirror. It was spattered with flecks of toothpaste from when her ma brushed her teeth the night before. Magella couldn't brush her teeth with the mirror looking like that, so she turned on the electric shower, and she stripped off as she waited for the hot water to kick in. Her da had installed the shower in 1988. It was the last home improvement he'd made. The last home improvement that had been made in the house for 15 years. The grouting was now black with mould, the shower head leaking from a warped seal, and the white tiles around the bath clashed with the patterned tiles that covered the rest of the room ever since the 70s. Her da, he'd promised to rip the old tiles down and fit the whole room with plain tiles. He'd even bought enough to finish the job. But when his brother Bobby died, he lost all interest in the bathroom, and he left the tiles sitting where they sat, locked in his shed in the backyard. Magella remembered him that autumn after they got the news, the way he shrank into a dark place inside himself. Things were never the same after that. Magella watched the steam rise and clot on the window. Then she climbed into the green bathtub. The water was as hot as she could bear, and she stood under it for a long time, until she felt sure that the smell of too many years of chip grease, fish batter, burger meat, and sausage fat had been washed from her burning skin. But afterwards, when she was toweling herself dry, she thought she could catch the tang of incense from the funeral last week. She didn't know how to wash that away.